This time I like to give you a demo of the snapping options we have. And I'm starting again with a cube. And you can see we have a second object already in our scene. And I would like, first of all, the cube to be placed somewhere on this surface. So we already have seen that we have several modes. The first three modes are for the selected object. These second three modes are for the object we want to place something on. So in this case, maybe I'm just using the surface or bounding box mode and control click on the side I would like to move. And I'm choosing the snap to center cube mode here for the other object. And then I choose what kind of action I like to have. In this case, we have this full 3D snapping active. So basically, you just hold down Control. And while hovering on the second object, you can see that we get this kind of indicator here. So we can just click and the cube will snap to that side. We can also use the surface. So you can place the cube more freely across the surface of the bounding box. And we can use the surface itself, which allows us to place the cube on this angled side of the other cube. So this is basically all about 3D snapping. The second mode we have is 2D snapping. So let's activate this. 2D snapping keeps the selected object in place and just moves it along one direction. So let's say I'm selecting the bottom face here and I would like to bring this cube down to be on the same level as the left cube. So I'm just clicking somewhere on this face and you can see that the selected cube moves down so it is on the same level. So it's also some kind of snapping, but it's not really snapping to that perfect point. It's just moving down to reach the same height. The third mode is about the scale. So it's stretching out the dimensions of the object. So let's say we would like to close the gap between the two objects. So I'm just selecting the left side in this case and doing a control click on the other side. You can see in this case it's doing a symmetric scale. Just let me check. This is because of key proportions here. I had this active from an earlier video. So without the proportions, we can of course scale it freely around across or along the given edge. And you can do this multiple times to adjust the size of any object. Exactly. So this would be the stretch out mode. Then we have this hinge aim mode, which requires us to use two different selections. So first we select the face that should be aligned, and then we select the edge that should be the hinge. So basically the cube will rotate around the selected edge and align the selected face to any other part of the second object. So in this case, again, it makes sense to use the surface mode with the second object. Just click here. Oh, I forgot to activate this. And you can see that our selected cube now rotates around the selected edge and aligns perfectly with the clicked on face, as you can see here. So this is the hinge aim mode. Then we have another one here, which is position snapping, which has to be used in the cubic surface or the real surface mode with an object. So let's activate some fillets, some roundings here with our cube. So it makes more sense to use the surface mode. Holding down Control to select any position and orientation on our cube. And now use the position snapping on, let's say, any part of the surface of the second object. Just holding Control again. You can see I can freely place the second marker wherever I like if I continue to hold Control, and then I just do a left click. And you can see that our cube and the marked position on this cube is just aligned to that given position without actually changing the orientation of our cube. So it's just bringing the two positions in the same spot. The second or last mode, which is similar, is the Align Orientations mode. So this keeps the object in place, and just move this away a little bit more. Just selecting one point here and one point over here, and you can see that it brings the normals into the same directions, parallel to each other, without changing the actual position of the object. So this is nice for aligning objects towards each other. And of course, this mode is also nice in combination with real 3D snapping, so really taking the position and the orientation, which basically is this full 3D snapping, as you can still use Shift key to rotate the object after snapping around the surface normal you have clicked.